Without question, Old Town is the oldest, wealthiest and greatest city in Westeros.
Though King's Landing is more populous, and arguably more powerful.
The city straddles the mouth of the Honeywine River, and the bounty of the entire Reach flows beneath its great stone bridges to ports that are renowned throughout the world.
Thus we needn't speak more of them. More interesting is the history of the city. For none can say when it was founded. Many centuries ago, a few bold maesters sought out the children of the forest, who claimed that men have lived at the mouth of the Honeywine since the Dawn Age.
Nonsense! Maester Jellicoe proved that the city began as a trading post, where ships from Valyria, Old Geese and the Summer Isles put in to replenish their provisions and make repairs. Hence the most famous feature of the city, the High Tower, raised even before the city walls, as a beacon through the fog-covered waters. Originally built of wood and standing a mere 50 feet above the ancient fortress of its foundation, it is now thick stone and rises even taller than the wall. Those born and raised in Old Town can tell the time of day by where its shadow falls.
But no maester can tell why. Even in our oldest records, the island on which it stands is called Battle Isle. What battle was fought there, and when? As for the ancient fortress that forms the tower's base, its walls and interiors are all of solid black stone with no hints of joins or mortar, and no chisel marks of any kind. We know it predates the tower itself by thousands of years, but who built it? How? And against what?
The maesters who have studied it declare it to be of Valyrian construction, akin to Dragonstone and the Black Walls of Volantis. As is well known, the Dragon Lords of Valyria could turn stone to liquid with dragon flame to shape as they wished.
Didn't one Archmaester link the fortress to the vanished maze makers of Lorath, and another maester to the legendary Deep Ones who inhabited the Iron Islands before the Ironborn?
Both marginal opinions without common support. But of more importance than the origin of the tower is the family to which it gave its name. House Hightower, the ancient ruling family of Old Town, known for their prudence and love of peace.
And pieces of gold.
During the Age of Heroes, when Lyman Hightower saw the Gardner kings conquering the Reach, he didn't beat them on the battlefield, but in the God's Wood. He bound his house to theirs by marriage, and transformed House Hightower from wealthy but relatively minor kings to the greatest lords of the Reach. Thanks to Lord Lyman's foresight, Highgarden has always defended Old Town, allowing the Hightowers to focus on higher pursuits such as learning and trade.
On that we agree. When the Andals invaded Westeros, Lord Dorian Hightower told his wife of 20 years that wars are bad for trade, and to make his point, traded her for a young Andal princess. When Aegon the Conqueror was earning his name, House Hightower traded its loyalty to the Gardeners for his confirmation of their rights, welcoming him with open arms and open gates.
House Hightower bent the knee to Aegon to spare the city from his dragons. I would think such insinuations and insults beneath even you, Qyburn. Then again, mockery of one's betters is the trade of fools.
I wouldn't know. Perhaps if I'd studied at the Citadel as long as you, Grand Maester.
The Citadel is the greatest seat of learning in the known world. Without it, and the maesters it trains, Westeros would be a land of superstition and ignorance.
Like the ignorance that shrouds the Citadel's own birth?
Even without records, we have more than enough reason to believe that the Citadel began as a court of scholars and priests, assembled by a second son of House Hightower. When he died, his elder brother raised the Citadel so that wise men would always have a home in Westeros and could continue the inquiries and debates that had given such joy to his younger brother.
His little brother's pets, as legend has it, he called them, and so the maesters have remained, only their masters have changed. Now they serve every lord with a castle, for a fee, of course, whilst the Citadel serves its own importance.
Every word you speak merely validates your own expulsion from our ranks.
Knowledge is validation enough. I assumed the world's greatest minds would agree, and perhaps they would if I'd met them. Old Town is a city for old men and old beliefs.
The citadel of Old Town is the greatest centre of learning in the world. Not that it has much competition, really. Most lords think of books the way they think of younger sons. Useful to have around, as long as they keep to the corners. Back when House Hightower still ruled Old Town as kings, a crippled younger son sought solace in books and those who wrote them, and became the greatest patron of learning in his day. Scholars of all sorts flocked to Old Town to debate and write and debate. After this Prince Paramore's death, his brother granted land to Paramore's pets, as the wise men were called, though now they're known as maesters.
Mudmen, bog devils. Those are just the most pleasant names our fellow northerners have for us, the Cranagmen who live in the swamps of the Neck. Because we do not live in castles like them, because we do not farm like them, because we are not tall or rich like them. But through our veins flows the same blood of the first men, and, at times, maybe something more. We still live much as they did, on floating islands in houses of thatch and woven reeds. We fish, hunt, and tell our children of our heroes. The knight of the laughing tree who fought in the year of the false spring. The last marsh king who challenged the Starks and lost his crown and his daughter. And other stories, older still, since lost to the world. The Neck was not always a swamp. In the Dawn Age, it was as dry and fertile as the rest of the north. But during the war with the First Men, the children of the forest brought down the hammer of waters on the Neck, trying to break Westeros in two. When the waters finally receded, they left the bogs and swamps we know today. Many of the First Men decided to fight on, but my ancestors wisely chose to heed the children's power and advance no farther. They beat their swords into frog spears and fish hooks, and settled a land forever devastated by the folly of war. Unlike the rest of Westeros, we keep no garrisons and raise no soldiers for petty spats with our neighbours. Our land protects its own. An outsider will find in the Neck an endless morass of suckholes, quicksands, and green grass that looks solid to the unwary eye, but turns to water the instant you tread on it. If you're lucky enough to be armoured, you'll only drown inside your own steel. If you're not, you get to meet what swims in that water. Serpents and monstrous lizard lions with teeth like daggers and never enough to eat. Don't worry. Only your horse will live long enough to feel their poisons burning through it. If you somehow survive all this, you may find that a well-placed dart can be as deadly as any blade. Not that you'll see us blowing it your way. Since the fall of the last Marsh King, House Reed has ruled the Neck beneath the banner of a black lizard lion on a grey-green field. We are not wealthy, powerful, or known even to our own countrymen. Our home, Greywater Watch, is no castle you've ever seen. And seeing it once does not mean you'll ever find it again. For Greywater Watch moves. Many would-be conquerors have died trying to find us. With war all around and our Stark Lord besieged on all sides, many more will doubtless soon try. They will look at us on a map and see a stranglehold for the north. And they will forget that the sea itself once entered the Neck, and not all of it returned.
Our land stretches from the wall down to the Neck, a narrow land that divides us from the rest of Westeros. Legend has it that the children of the forest flooded it in their war against the First Men. If that's true, every Northman owes them a debt of gratitude. The swamps of the Neck are as good as the wall for keeping out unwelcome armies. And if the swamps don't deter you, the Cranagmen should. Small, shy people who rarely leave those swamps, and who follow House Reed, the gatekeepers of the North, and among the most important and loyal bannermen of House Stark. Also a bit strange. I heard their oath of fealty once as a child. It's like no other lords. ancient and dark. They swear by earth and water, by bronze and iron, and by ice and fire.